when an interlock instruction is placed before a section of a ladder program, okay, the execution condition for the interlock instruction will control the execution of all instruction up to the next interlock clear. So basically, in this case, we can see that this contact, okay, this you can see that ILC have no activation contact. So basically, only IL have activation contacts, and you will close with ILC. So whatever instructions in between will be blocked, or not blocked, it's like gated by these two instructions. Okay, so if you are turning this on, okay, if you are turning this IL on, then basically instructions in between this IL and ILC can be executed as written. Okay, if you turn this off, okay, what happens is that if you turn that off, then the instructions will depend on what instructions that you have. Like I said in the table before, that whatever output you will have, it will turn off. Okay, now we're going to look at the example of basically using interlock in CX Programmer. So I've put on one example here where we have some sort of out here, as well as a timer, and you can see that there is a timer number and set value of 10 seconds. We have interlock out here, and of course gated by interlock clear, and we will see what happened to the output. Okay, so I will start the simulator, and then we should see what happened to the timer as well as the counter. Okay, wait a bit. Okay, so first of all, we know that we have interlock that are not activated by any contacts here. So basically, interlock clear is programmed without any activation. So obviously, when we powered up the PLC, the ILC gets straight away power there. But right now we haven't turned on the interlock yet. Okay, so we can see here that if I turn on PB2, you will see that this one, okay, we'll just clear up the highlight first. Okay, so we can see that even though I turn on the switch PB2, which is connected to output 100.00, is not turning on. See, it's clear here. As well, if I activate also the timer, it will not start. Okay, this is because we didn't turn on the interlock. Okay, once we turn on the interlock, okay, and we can see that this timer starts working on, okay, and the output is also green. Okay, so basically it will turn on the L2. Okay, once I turn off the ILC, we will see that the timer is reset, and obviously when it is reset, L2 is also out. Okay, it will turn off, and you can see this happens even though you have both activations on here. PB2 is still on, PB3 is also on, but the output is off and the timer is reset unless you turn on the interlock again. So you can see how this works. Basically, in reality, is that for a master control reset to actually work, you will have to have you will have to turn on the buttons. Basically, if there is a power outage, so when there is a power outage, obviously whatever process that happens inside here, once there is a power outage, and you can see that all outputs are turned off and all the timers are off. Therefore, you will be able to kind of manually take the automation out from your process. And this is especially important when you want to do some emergency maintenance, or if you want to reset the current processes, so that, you know, if for example there's a jam somewhere and you want to reset everything, and you can turn off the interlock. Okay, I hope this one is clear. Okay, so interlock operations can also be used more than once, okay, within one instruction block. So basically, if you look here, you have IL, then ILC. Okay, so basically this interlock can happen, or basically to off the whole instructions, you will have to turn off the outer ones. Okay, and if you want to just basically turn off these instructions, okay, you can make sure that this one is on and this one is off. So we will look at it in the CX programmer to see how it is done. Okay, we should also look into when there are two interlocks in between, nested inside, and how it would affect the output. Okay, so you can see, unlike the previous example where there is only one interlock, now I added a second interlock in between. So we can see that right now you have two interlock, or basically one interlock nested in a larger interlock. So it's like having two reset points. All right, so the outer ones will basically reset everything inside the instruction, and the inner ones will only reset the inner instructions. Okay, so let's just get on with it and start the simulator. And then, okay, so right now we can see that our interlock clear get power already, and at this point, if I did turn on any of the interlock, and we're just going to set on the push button that turn on the output, okay, 2 and 3. All right, and we can see that there's nothing going on. All right, so say that I turn on the nested interlock, okay, the interlock inside here, which is turned on by PB4, sorry, we can see that the timer is not working. Okay, timer is not working. Why? Because there are outer interlock that must be turned on for the rest of the instructions to actually work. Okay, so if I turn on the interlock here, right, and we can see the timers are working as well as the output. All right, so if I turn off the interlock right now, sorry, turn off the interlock right now, we can see that I can actually control or reset the timer here. Alright, so when you see the nested interlock like this, you should always keep in mind that the outer gate, or the outer part of the interlock, must always be turned on for the inner interlock to work. Okay, so at this point, for example, if you want to reset the timer or other instructions in between the nested interlock, you have to make sure that the outer interlock is also turned on. Okay, so right now, if I set on the interlock again, and you can see the timer is working. Okay, once I turn off the outer interlock, you can see that everything, timer will immediately reset, and all the output will also be off.